Joining us on the Mercedes-Benz Vans phone line to officially take me off the hook of the last team to be shocked at home to start the season by Appalachian State is Mr. Appalachian State and NFL Network and Move the Sticks himself, Daniel Jeremiah. How you doing, DJ?
Never better, Rich. Only would have been better if we would have had Charles Davis on the call.
Yes.
So
yes.
that I could use him as a sidekick in this story. But that's okay. I'll take it, and I can officially say you're off the hook.
Thank you, sir. I greatly appreciate it. Charles is too busy calling one of the greatest Week 1 games I've seen in quite some time between the Bengals and Steelers yesterday. That was great, but not as great as me calling you, right? Within minutes of that game being over. Let's just put it all out there on the table, Daniel. Right on Saturday.
It was. I was. The game ends. So here's how it goes. Game ends.
Yes.
I immediately text Sean Clark, who's the head coach at App State, who was my left tackle when I played there, and is a really good friend, to congratulate him because I know he'll get flooded with those. So I text him, and before I had even heard from an ex-teammate or anyone else who might be affiliated with the university, my phone rang, and it was one Rich Eisen with a request that he be taken off the hook.
For old time's sake.
So
for old time's sake. Yes. For old time's sake.
First phone call. Yeah, it was fantastic. My phone blew up after that. I actually went to church Saturday night, and my phone never stopped buzzing. Like the entire service was congratulations. The only person that I didn't have congratulations from was Mooch, because Mooch is still texting my old phone, even though I've told him the number has changed probably 10 times.
Story gets better as you tell it, Daniel. Not going to lie. Story gets better as you tell it. Well, man, congratulations on all of that. That was just what a weekend, too, in college football. And Nebraska's got a gig open now. I mean, they bounced Scott Frost. Notre Dame is 0-2. Marshall went into South Bend and won that one. Crazy.
Sunbelt, man. Sunbelt. Who knew?
The Sunbelt action, no doubt about that. And Alabama almost got picked off by Texas. Any 2 cents on college football that leaps out at you now, Daniel? As you scouting it?
I watched all of that one. I mean, first of all, a couple things from the Alabama game. They're not what they've been at receiver. I mean, that was obvious when you watched that game. You come off of Jamison Williams and just one big play after another. They were kind of having to slog their way through that game, which – when you see Georgia and what they look like this year offensively to go with the defense, I think Georgia's is a full step ahead of Alabama right now. So that was an interesting takeaway. You know, congrats to Sark. I thought the game plan he had was awesome. I would love to have seen the quarterback stay healthy. I think they probably would have won the game. But you know, that was an interesting one. The other thing that stood out to me, you mentioned that Notre Dame game. Golly, just ugly. I mean, it's hard to believe that Notre Dame could look that ugly out there after competing against Ohio State. Real competitive in that game. So, yeah, college football is the best, man.
Yeah, I was telling Albert Breer, I texted him, I'm like, your win over Notre Dame looks a little less impressive tonight. It was great. And then he's just like, name me a position group. He's texting me, name me a position group that Michigan wouldn't take from Ohio State. And just to piss him off, I said quarterback. It was great. It was great. I said, I will take and I do like J.J. McCarthy. I don't know if you've been watching too much Michigan football over the last 2 weeks, but man. Right? I mean, he looks the role, don't you think, right now for top 5 Wolverines?
I've just seen bits and pieces. Somebody made this comment, so I don't want to hijack it as my own, but I thought it was an astute point when they talked about Harbaugh making that move, and they equated it to Dabo. The name of the I think it was Kelly Bryant was his quarterback.
Yeah.
He ended up hooking for Trevor Lawrence, which was, you know, once you go to the playoff and you see, okay, there's quarterbacks that can get you to the playoff, and then there's kind of another level of quarterback you really need to kind of win the playoff. And Harbaugh might have said, hey, man, we might win the Big Ten with McNamara. He's a good player, but if we want to really hunt down the big prize, we need more upside, and it looks like JJ gave you that.
And I remember Kelly Bryant bolted when that decision got made by Dabo. And, you know, at any rate, Daniel Jeremiah here on the Rich Eisen Show. You called Chargers and Raiders for the Chargers radio network, and it looks like Khalil Mack has definitely brought some vigor to that defense, and they, despite Devontae Adams going off, they got the job done on Derek Carr, and I'm wondering what your observation was from your seat on that.
Well, it was a fun ride. This AFC West is going to be incredible, and I feel spoiled to get a chance to see 2 games in 5 days. The Chargers are going to turn around and play Kansas City on Thursday night.
Big one.
Jumping right into the deep end here. So, but you tell me, look, without J.C. Jackson, and you go out there and the defense, I think they had 5 or 6 sacks. You have 3 picks. Khalil Mack was unbelievable. Herbert did his thing. Keenan Allen goes out in the first half, and Herbert's just throwing the ball to DeAndre Carter and Horvath. I mean, it doesn't matter. He's gotten to the point now where he's that quarterback that's just going to elevate the guys around him, and they're all going to be better players because of him. So, nothing Herbert does at this point in time surprises me. I would say the one thing that I would not like to get lost in this, I went back and watched the tape this morning, Rich.
All right, hold on a minute. Let me guess the 2 names, the name you're going to say. I'm going to jump out because I've been around you. Derwin James. Is that the name you're going to say?
Nope. That is, you know me well.
Well, they used him everywhere. They used him everywhere. I mean, he didn't stay put. He was everywhere, that guy.
This was, and again, I don't know what they were saying on the TV copy because you're calling the game, but I went back and I saw it when they were doing it live, but didn't fully appreciate it, that there were key downs. There was one key down early in the game where he's rushing off the edge. He just runs over Josh Jacobs and gets a sack. There's another key down where he's covering Waller flexed out in the slot man-to-man. There's another one where he's got Hunter Renfrow down in the red zone and just blanketing him. They're one of the best slot receivers in the NFL. And then, oh, by the way, last play of the game, where's Derwin James? He's traveling with Devontae Adams on the last play of the game. Yeah. Like, this is not normal for a safety at 6'3", 220 pounds to be doing all those things.
So who are you going to say if not Derwin James?
No, that was the one.
Okay,
I mean, I just think you come out of that game, and I think you look at the box score and you go, man, Justin Herbert's unbelievable. Khalil Mack has got juice left. Joey Bosa did his thing. And I came away watching that tape going, man, Derwin James, he is one of one.
Well, I mean, and then Kansas City, well, they got 101 in 15, don't they? Oh. And no 10, but they got 87 just to start having people reach for their Chiefs flip cards. That offense just came out looking terrific, like nobody's business. I don't know what your 2 cents on that. I don't know if you watched any of that tape yet because that game was going on at the same time as the one you were calling, but they looked terrific too, Daniel.
Yeah, and they looked unbelievable. I'm excited to see them Thursday. I would just say, we've said it for years, how dangerous is Andy Reid when he has an extra week to prepare? Well, he's had about 5-6 months to prepare for that one. So good luck. You don't want to open up against the Kansas City Chiefs. So this one will be a good test. And you just mentioned Kelsey. And I just mentioned Derwin James. Does it get any more fun than those two guys squaring up on the launch of Amazon Thursday Night Football? Can't wait.
It'll be great. Daniel Jeremiah here on the Rich Eisen Show. What do the Cowboys do? What do they do now? Just hope that Cooper Rush can win half his games? Is that what we're looking at right now? What do you think, Daniel?
Yeah, I'm not left with much confidence on that front. I don't know what road you can go down there. I'd be curious. I have to call Howie and see if he made this phone call. He probably wouldn't tell me even if he did, but it would be such a Howie move. Like, hey, Gardner Minshew, hey, 2nd-round pick, Gardner Minshew coming your way.
The Eagles would offer him up to the Cowboys? Is that what Howie is in Roseman, huh? Really? Because the issue is, as I said at the top of my show here, Daniel, is that they looked horrible before Dak got hurt. That they had the worst word you can call the Cowboys, boring. They were boring. Yeah. Micah Parsons flashed, Tank Lawrence flashed. That's it. That's about it. So that's the problem. And now Cooper Rush is going to have to be the spark. I don't know. What does Dallas call around? I don't think there's anybody there, because if I'm the Niners, having watched Lance in the rain, I don't know how much you can evaluate him, but I'm not coughing up Garoppolo to the Cowboys right now.
No, and I look, they're going to give Cooper Rush a chance to see what it looks like. I don't, I don't want to be a prisoner of the moment here, because when we could talk about the Green Bay Packers and some of these other teams too, you don't want to believe too much of what you see this early. Let's let it play out a little bit. But man, I would have said going into the season, I don't feel great about their backup quarterback situation, and just hoping that you don't have to, in case of emergency, break glass. Well, they broke glass before the first game was over. So that's going to be tough to repair that damage at this point in time, because like you said, there's not a whole lot out there.
So would you reach out to Cam if you're Jerry? Just throwing names out there. Kaepernick even? I mean, what do you do?
I mean, you can start doing workouts for sure. I mean, I think some of it will depend on the severity here. I know Dr. Jones, I guess, said he'd be out for a few weeks, but I don't know the exact situation there in terms of the timeline. If it's going to be 3 or 4 games, I don't think you're going to do anything too, aggressive. If it's going to be longer than that, then yeah. I mean, you talk about anybody and everybody. Let's bring them all in. Let's work them all out and see where they're at.
Yeah.
Well, old Dr. Jones with my rubber glove is going to make sure every one of you are safe.
There you go, right there. 6 to 8 weeks.
Hey,
that's Dr. Jones.
Can I give you? Here's my one fun one though. This is too early because I think I haven't checked, but I'm pretty sure Rivers is still coaching high school football. So I guess high school football probably goes into November. So I don't think he would do anything until the high school football season were over. But that's one thing. I'm always keeping that door open, that if there's a playoff team and they have an injury, I still think Rivers could go out there and sling it around a little bit.
Daniel Jeremiah right here on the Rich Eisen Show, Move the Sticks podcast host, along with Bucky Brooks and my great friend and colleague from the NFL Media Group. So 5 division winners from last year lost in week 1. Let's throw the Cowboys out of this mix, out of the Bengals, Titans, Rams, and Packers, who also lost after winning their divisions last year. Which one long-term concerns you the most, Daniel Jeremiah, out of those 4?
I would say, yeah, the Packers for me. And I know Rodgers is famous for these moments of pointing out the overreaction. But golly, Rich, there's not a lot that scares you outside with them. And I know he's such an unbelievable quarterback. He can raise people's level, but there is some inexperience and some youth that they are really counting on. And I have my doubts and my concerns there. So that would probably be the one. I mean, the Rams just turned the ball over too dang much. And I think they've got too many high elite level players at key positions. I think they'll figure it out. Maybe the hangover, whatever you want to call it, from the Super Bowl. Maybe it's just the fact they ran into the best team in the league. I'm not too concerned about them at this point in time.
Yeah, I mean, Brian Allen, though, is hurt. Their center is banged up. I mean, Noteboom got run over by Von Miller, and the Bills didn't blitz and hit Stafford 15 times in that game. That's the thing that gives me pause, because how does one improve an offensive line? I guess just reps, one would think, right? When it all comes down to it on that one?
Yeah, but Rich, I just think when you're ultra talented at quarterback and on the defensive front, we just saw a team in the Bengals darn near win a Super Bowl with a complete clunker of an offensive line. So, I think they can overcome and work around some of those deficiencies they have up front. So they just can't turn the ball over. That's going to be big for them. But I'm still buying them. I'm still believing in them. We'll see how the season unfolds, man. 17 games. We got a long way to go.
Okay, so then the last thing for you, Daniel, is give me a team that impressed that we haven't discussed. Is it the Ravens, the way that they looked offensively with a very dynamic passing game? Could it be the Giants and Brian Daboll going for 2 and having it cash and then holding on, beating the Titans? I'm tap dancing a little bit so you could think. Is it the Dolphins, the way that they looked? I'll give you the floor on that.
Yeah, to me, you mentioned teams that were able to pull out wins. I actually go with the Atlanta Falcons and what they look like. They were ultra competitive in that game. Watching a little bit of it this morning, I think Drake London was really good. He's going to be a really good player. Arthur Smith with the creativity that he had offensively. They had those guys on their heels. So I was impressed with how competitive that football team played in that game. And I thought they have a chance to be a team that could have the first pick in the draft, and they didn't look like that in that game.
All right, Daniel Jeremiah, greatly appreciated. They're taking on the Rams next up the road here. Safe travels to Kansas City. Enjoy that one. What a marquee way to kick off week number 2. Enjoy it. We'll chat soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, Rich.
And
You're off the hook, buddy.
I'm off the hook, right? Michigan is off the hook, and the 12th man has now gigged me off the hook, correct? In Texas A&M, correct?
That's correct. So if you could, I know you've had a lot of guests on the show over the years, so if you could just send me Johnny Manziel's phone number so I can give somebody some grief, because I don't know anybody from A&M.
Okay. Well, actually, let's just use it. We're on Roku today for the first time, the Roku Channel for the first time today. This show has never had a bigger platform than the one that we have. So if you want to say something, just go ahead, Daniel, and then I'll hang up and listen, as they say in the radio. What do you got? What do you think?
Yeah, look, hey, cool nickname, Johnny Football. That's great. Johnny Football got pushed around the field a little bit by the little old Mountaineers from up on the mountain. So congratulations on the Heisman Trophy and everything that came with that. But got to be better than that, son.
And if I'm not mistaken, they took $1.5 million of Texas A&M's dollars back to Boone with them. Correct? Did they not? They were paid to play in this game. Correct?
That's right. They actually found a booster in the parking lot and found that money in his ashtray. So that was nice.
Sliced Bread. I think Sliced Bread gave it to him. I think that's who it was. It was the blogger Sliced Bread. Thanks for the call, Daniel. Greatly appreciate it.
See you, buddy.
Daniel Jeremiah at Move the Sticks. I follow him. You should as well, right here on the Rich Eisen Show.